before our final candidate speaks and everybody wants to tune me out, I'd like to remind everybody that the Alleghany Highlands Democratic Committee meets every second Thursday of the month. This month we're here in Covington, obviously, and next month we will be over at Dabney in the back of the Moomaw Center. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me, Facebook, or talk to me after, and I can get you exact directions, anything like that. And if anybody has a problem with transportation, you know, I know some folks don't like driving at night. If you'd like to come to one of our meetings, we'll get you transportation to the meeting. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Sheriff Hall up and
kind of a hard thing to do, especially when you spent your whole entire life in Alleghany County, except for about a year that I went away to play college baseball at Fairham. And I'm going to have some notes up here so I can try to remind myself of what we've done over the past 12 years. And I know I'm not a perfect individual. There's only one perfect person in this world, and that was Jesus Christ. And I know that He doesn't get 100%. And I'd be fooling myself and any other politician if you ever thought you were going to get 100% of the people behind you. But I want to just give you a little bit about, if you don't know who I am, I'm going to kind of bore you a little bit at first. But I was born June 4th, 1964. My dad, Eddie Hall, passed away in 2002 at Barber Hall. I grew up on Potts Creek, Route 18 area, south of Covington. Grew up 2 brothers, 2 sisters. Father was the only one that worked 2 jobs. Canfield, rubber plant, and Iron Gate. You know, mother was a stay-at-home mother, so grew up a hard life, simple life, and a lot of things I go back to today. I think about would I want to do that again, but I think it may be the person that I am. You know, when you live 18 miles up Potts Creek, you don't get to visit Covington very often. You know, you pretty much you go there, and I know what it's like being, you know, getting free lunch at school and not having, you know, a lot of things that a lot of people have. So I try to keep that in my mind at all times throughout my whole life. I attended Bowling Spring School in '82. I graduated from Alleghany High School, the Colts. I went on to Fairham for a year to play college baseball. Coach Rice was probably my biggest mentor. He just retired after, I think, 50 years of coaching, second on the all-time list. He was a person that I really looked up to. Got interested in law enforcement. Actually, my first job was over here at the car wash. I washed windows and towels. I dried off windows on the car wash over here. Worked for Miss Ann Wright. Then for about 6 months, as a little part-time job. And then I went on to putting in satellite systems down on Valley Ridge Road. There's a little 10 to 12 foot satellite dishes. Did that for about a year or so, trying to find out what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, and find myself. And went back to Dabney after Fairham. I got mono, so I had to come home and went down to Dabney. And Dabney had a baseball team at the time. Played 2 seasons down there, but the problem was I wasn't really motivated. My whole life, neither one of my parents graduated from high school, so they couldn't really help me with my work. I had to work really hard. Well, I got to hanging out with my friends, and I didn't make it down there. I didn't do my schoolwork. I actually missed out on a baseball scholarship to VMI because of my grades. At that time, I got involved, and I got to meet some guys that were involved in law enforcement, like a couple guys out here, Sergeant Perry, who worked for Covington, and Sergeant Biggs, who was killed. And I said, you know, maybe I could do something like that. And I was fortunate enough to get hired at the Covington Police Department in 1986. I spent 22 years at the Covington Police Department. Those 22 years were really good years there. Started off as a patrolman, and in 1986 and 1992, I went to dare school. So I had a love for kids. And we didn't have a full-time dare officer at the time. Myself and Lieutenant J.B. Brookman, who later on ended up being the chief. We did it part-time because we only had 4th and 5th grade classes. And did dare for a while, and then in 1996, I started working. I got appointed to the drug task force, and it's probably the best job that I ever had 2 years until I guess, you know, I got promoted to sergeant, so I had to go back out on the road. But when I went into the academy, I was class president, drug task force patrol sergeant. When I left the city, I was a criminal investigator, but I was also the first school resource officer that Covington had in 2001. That's when I started coaching. There was a program that Chief Jack Thurston and Lieutenant Brookman thought would be a good program. It's called Cops and Coaches. So I started coaching high school sports in 2002, and I've been with them ever since. And people say, well, you know, I hear sometimes I get knocked because I'm coaching, but I'm out here, I'm working with young people. I'm being a mentor. I've gained life friendships with these young people all throughout their whole adulthood. I have them come up to me nowadays, and if there's something going on in the community, they'll tell me, hey, Sheriff, you know, there's something going on, I need to talk to you, you know, we need to do something about this. And actually, I'm proud to say that I have 4 former players that actually work for us. And I know Mr. Williams talked about some good things about change. Well, some of the changes that we made back in 2007, I had people in this community that were coming to me and saying, hey, we need to change. We need something different here. There's too much stuff going on. Well, you know, and I was successful in that election campaign. And when I first went into the sheriff's office, they were on an 8-hour shift. I went 2 people out here working the whole entire Alleghany County. No drug task force officer at all. Maybe that's why we don't have any drug arrests back then. There was not a full-time drug task force officer. So I assigned the guy full-time drug task force. Yes, there's a lot of drug arrests made. And there's been a lot over the years. And you know, I think the reason why the drugs have always been here, but until you have someone working it full-time, you're not going to have as many cases. And over the last 4 years, we've made a lot of strides to working with the CSB to bring, talk about the drug court. I actually started talking about drug court back in 2015. And if you want to do some research, you can research that and find it out. It's an actual fact. And we started working with the Community Service Board, Miss Andrew Barber. We started bringing in CSB into the jail, substance abuse counseling. But this stuff here and all these new programs, it costs money. The first time we did this, we went to the Board of Supervisors and asked them for $14,000 to be able to bring these people into the jail to provide these programs. They wouldn't give it to us. The Board of Supervisors or the City Council. So we took money out of our budget at the Sheriff's Office and started this program. We brought the CSB in, and then we started doing the counseling and things, and we're working. Do we have a ways to go? Yes, we do. And that's one of the big challenges that we have, but also during this time, the last 4 years, you all know about the opioid crisis. Well, we're one of the forefront on the opioid crisis because, unfortunately, I think all you guys know, it affected my family. It affected my life. I had a son, and I don't hide from it, that was addicted to opioids. Me and my son, we did a video with the state police back in 2017 to tell the story, to try to break the stigma, to try to let people know, hey, you know, it can happen to anyone, and so we could help try to save some lives. And I'm proud because I'm an independent. So I feel like as an independent candidate, I can work with the Republicans, the Democrats, the independents, whoever, on any good programs. Well, this video that we did, we didn't realize that it was going to take off the way it did. It started saving people's lives. We did this with a state police agent on the Eastern Shore. There was another girl that lost her life, and her parents, she died, and her parents did a video of her. They showed it over on the Eastern Shore of the schools over there. We started getting calls from the agent about, hey, this video opened my eyes that this can happen to a sheriff's son and him, and they can come out and be open in front of this. It's helped us help them get treatment. There's been about 25 people in that since last year. They've come and helped and asked me to help them get treatment. I'm coming out of the courthouse, or I'm coming out of the jail on Main Street, or wherever, community event, people are coming up to us. I'm not proud of what happened with my son. It was a hard time. Actually, it was during this last campaign in 2015. But after we did this video and it was shown all across the state of Virginia, we got a call one day from Governor Northam. Whether you like Governor Northam or not, I feel like, as me as a person, it's my patriotic duty as a citizen. If the governor asks you to do something, as a patriot, you do it. It doesn't matter what party they are, for a good cause. I would go to D.C. right now with President Trump and do this program along with him. But we traveled around with the governor to meet doctors and explain to them how this can happen, because the doctors, you know, were told by the pharmaceutical companies that these drugs were not part of this. But also, some of the other things that we've done, $468,000 of a technology grant that we upgraded our radio systems for the whole entire area, every area department, even Dallas State Park. We also put mobile data terminals in our police cars. We were the only agency at that time, local agency, to have them. The state police had them, but now Covington PD has them. Signed a full-time drug task force. We have 10 guys that have been through the Forensic Science Academy with no cost for training, lodging, or meals. We had 2 officers, and Dave was one of them, and Richard Fridley was sent to the Forensic Science Academy. The sheriff's office didn't have anybody to go out and process a crime scene, send the evidence off, how to package it, send it, be able to, you know, you see crime scene on TV. And partnered with the Masonic Lodge in Covington, Clifton, Millburn, and Valley Springs to provide child IDs in case the lost are missing. You know, and I was appointed to the 911 board back in 2015, that we recently just did an upgrade with our 911 system of $182,000. That $150,000 was a VITA grant. The other $32,000 was split between Covington and Alleghany, so we upgraded our 911 dispatch equipment. We're in the process right now of upgrading our CAD system, which is computer-aided dispatch. And we've been saving money for 4 years, so a lot of these programs, it takes money, and that's your taxpayer money. And there's a lot of programs that I would like to do, but we just don't have the money. I've been told the 12 years that I've been sheriff and doing the budgets, that's level funding. So it's hard to do some things that you'd like to do. Also, due to being considered an expert in the opioid crisis, which really is nothing to brag about. 10 minutes, I still got 5, right? You said 15. Was pointed to the Governor's Advisory Commission on opioids that we're meeting quarterly to find ways to fight the opioid crisis. Our agency has been training, we trained all our officers in Narcan. So anytime there's an overdose, actually 2 last weekend, our officers are able to give the nasal spray Narcan to bring people back from a drug overdose. Our chief deputy teaches the classes. We've taught the class to a lot of you out here in the public. We'll continue to do that. Once you go through the class, we give you a little card. You go to the health department and you get the Narcan for free. So that's the things that we're doing to try to fight the opioid crisis. But also, you know, we started a crisis intervention team and center. That was one of the big focuses last time about people that are in mental crisis. We got a $535,000 grant from the state along with the CSB to open up a crisis intervention site at Alleghany Regional Hospital in one of the clinics. It's open from Wednesday to Sunday from 4 to 12. Anybody's taking them by an officer, they're handed over to those people, and then the officers can get it back out on the street instead of tying up the officer for long, because we work with Senator Deeds and the Virginia Sheriff's Association with that. I hate that I seem like I'm not really trying to brag on myself. I'm involved in a lot. I am. I'm involved in this community. There's not an event that I do not attend. Talk about community policing, I believe I set the example. I've been going to events my entire career, especially after becoming sheriff. I'm at your bike rodeo, your hometown Halloween, your street scenes, not just election year. Every year I'm there. I'm out in the community at these events. I take time away from my family, who thank them for being here and supporting me today. But they understand. I know you pay me a good salary. I try to earn it. I put in the time, I put in the work. I'm out in the community, people can approach me. Fall festivals, the railroad heritage in Clifton. I see Jerry everywhere I go. So, I mean, a couple other things is like, we're now working with the CSB, we're trying to obtain a grant to be able to start giving Vivitrol. People probably don't understand it, but there's a shot out there now that when people are getting released from jail, we give them this shots, $1,500. We get it for $1,000. We're trying to get a grant through the state that we can give these people this shot. That'll give them 30 days so that they can have time to get to CSB, because too many times these people are let out of jail and there's nobody following up with them. It takes them a month or 2 months to get into the CSB. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to reoffend. They're going to go back out on these opioids. So we're getting this medication. We're we're going to get this grant. We've already got $150,000, but we're looking at getting $500,000 to be able to do this. And then the drug court, we're only going to be allowed to do 10 people. But the biggest thing that I think that we are looking at now is the jail overcrowding. I agree. This problem's increased all over the country. If you look at every jail in the state of Virginia, Western Virginia Regional in Roanoke, Lexington Jail, same number of beds we have, 56. You got 150, you got 75 outsourced. It's not just a problem in Alleghany County, it's a problem all over this Commonwealth. And the state shut down 7 prisons, and that's the reason why. But we got an idea about how to lessen the load in our jail. And we're going to try to work out a day reporting program like they do in Carroll County. Instead of going to jail for nonviolent offenders, you'll come and you'll go to work for Alleghany County, Covington, Clifton Forge, or Town Iron Gate, and you'll serve your sentence by we're doing work. So what I say to you is, I'm asking you all to continue your support for me. I've got 34 years of law enforcement experience in this county. I love this area. I'm passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I get up every day to try to make a difference. Do I fall short? Yes, I do. But I've got a great group, a great team here, and it's not all me. I get too much credit, and I get too much blame sometimes for everything that goes on. But you know what? I've been able, I understand to take it. But I got a great staff. A lot of them are here today. They go out every day and make these things possible. So I ask you to vote for me on November the 5th, because I feel like that I am the most qualified candidate with a proven track record. On November 5th, I ask that you continue to let us lead this county moving forward